Good morning, everybody. Glad to see you. We have made it through another week, folks. Can you believe it? It is Friday. We have made it through another week. There's a lot going on today, so let's just dig right into it. All right, so I got a lot of people. When we started the show, I had just broken up a cat fight, and Gangster Kitty had run for the exit, and I was scolded in emails that I shouldn't call her Gangster Kitty, that she's just a sweet cat, and that I basically am slandering my own cat. Well, let me explain something to you. Yeah, see that? I know, right? I know, right? They have no idea why you call Gangster Kitty, right? Tell them, you gangster. Tell them, you badass. I know. I am the only human being on the face of the planet that is allowed to do this without catching hands. She is mean. Don't do it. Don't. You know I love you. You know I love you. Okay, come on. Let go of my hand. Thank you. She gangster. She gangster. Yeah. I know. You think I'm kidding? You think I'm kidding? I am literally the only human being on the face of this planet that is, I know, it's okay. It's okay. That is allowed to do that. That cat is badass, man. She has earned her name. Sorry for slurping the coffee there. I have promised to try to mute that as much as possible. I have somebody that has misophonia in the audience. That is a real thing that is really tearing them up. And they very graciously sent me an email and asked me to pretty please to mute that stuff, so that, because it just, they can't handle it. And, we try to accommodate here, right? There you go, folks. Hope your coffee's as good as mine. Yeah, I hope it's better. So yeah, we've got a bunch going on today. Let's finish the silliness and move to something serious. Justice David Souter has passed. David Souter has passed at 85. What I've always used Judge Souter as an example, Justice Souter as an example, pardon me, of just how screwed up our politics has become. There are people on the left that consider him a liberal, and there are people on the right that consider him a liberal. He is not, and he never has been. He was appointed by George Herbert Walker Bush, and when he was appointed because he is a staunch conservative. Always has been. That didn't change. He didn't suddenly become a liberal, but politics in our country changed. He was appointed when the Republicans just had first really started that whole, they fiddled with it under Reagan. We've got an actor president that's playing the part of a president, but the whole modern evolution from Republican into MAGAism and the whole, politics of personal destruction hadn't really fully bloomed at this point. And when they appointed Souter, I mean, he was what was considered a conservative. The Devil of Dallas, thanks for being here. Treats for the Speaky Hambina. That's a voice. Yeah, she is. She's a talker, man. She will tell me about it. Ain't that right, rah? Ain't that right? She's sitting back there giving me dirty looks. How dare I? Oh, Marsha Klepper in the house. Thanks for being here. I appreciate y'all. Thank you very much. Gangster Kitty appreciates it, whether she acts like it or not. But yeah, David Souter's a perfect example of what's happened to our country. He is a conservative. He always has been a conservative. But by today's standard, the Overton window has shifted. The center of what is politics has shifted so radically that David Souter, the conservative, is considered a liberal. And he is not. And it's a problem because, guys, my mission is to rope the Democratic Party and pull left. Yes, there are some things that I'm very considered conservative on that aren't conservative ideals. Remember, liberalism gets its root from the word liberty, as in stay the hell out of my bedroom, stay the hell out of my gun cabinet. Government do as little as with me but that's liberalism, folks. That's what being a liberal is the government does not oppress you. We don't do that. We are a government of the people, for the people. That's what liberal is. Not anymore. These Republicans have just taken your crazy ass uncle and your crazy ass. Yes, being liberal is open-minded. It is open-minded. And that's kind of the theme for today, is where we are headed. We're headed back to being a real liberal society. After this horrific ugliness that we've seen out of Trump, that is back. We are headed back to what is a true liberal society. Deborah Emery, appreciate you for me. Yes, Bobby, ask Canada what being a liberal is. The stupidity out of Republicans and what they try to define. There's nothing conservative about this suck broligarch balls tax policy. There's nothing conservative about that. It doesn't fit the definition. We have MAGA and sane. That's our two political parties. You've got radical right insanity, which has no definition whatsoever. It is whatever the cult leader wants today, versus you have sane, normal people that want just, government, do what government needs to do. Government does what we can't do for ourselves. But other than that, mind your business. Mind your business. And I tell you, David Souter is the perfect example. If you just need a reference for how crazy shit has gotten. And thank God, the entire world is moving back to, they're sick of the crazy. They want some common sense. They do. Randy Oliver, thanks for being here, my friend. Mo Davis running against Chuck Edwards, 2026. Vote blue. Yeah, we got it. 2026 is going to be a great year, folks. It is going to be a great year. It really is. George Allen, thanks for supporting the show.
Are you connected?
Excuse me?
Are you connected? Are you sure you're connected?
Yeah. Are you folks not seeing me? I'm seeing a lot of responses here. I'm being told that I'm not connected. Am I? You folks seeing me okay? Hearing me okay? Are we all good? Good. Someone else is having a technical, which is kind of weird. There's a lot of technical difficulties going on this morning. Had me worried because the system, the software which you folks generously pay for, that allows me to do this streaming, would not recognize my mic and my earbuds. You notice I wear earbuds when I do the shows so I can hear the audio as well as you. It wouldn't recognize both. It would recognize either or. It was crazy this morning. So I was actually worried that I might have a problem. Thanks for confirming we're all okay. But yeah, just Sad to hear it. Sad to hear David Souter has passed. He was a good man. He stood by his principles. He didn't allow the country to move him. The country moved so far that it made David Souter left of center. And I'm sorry to see him go. I am sorry to see him go. We've had this talking about crazy. Boxwine Barbie has been appointed the interim prosecutor in D.C. Boxwine Barbie is now a prosecutor. The buffoon, the fool of Fox News is now a prosecutor. Way to go. Way to go, frickin' Trump, you moron. Give you a second just to soak that in, that Jeanine Pirro is now the prosecutor in charge of D.C. Now, I call her Boxwine Barbie, but, to be fair, she totally denies it. She got that moniker when, COVID came out and they started shooting from home. She showed up looking and sounding drunk, but, she absolutely 100% denies that she was drunk. But pretty much, everybody that actually saw clips from that show, they think she was drunk. And then, that's what earned her the moniker Boxwine Barbie. And I've really got to hand it to George Conway, another conservative, by the way. George Conway is not liberal. He is not a liberal. Rick Wilson is not liberal. No. Brain freeze. Tom, another one that's popular, reformed. Anyways, not liberal. Bill Kristol, arch conservative, yet the politics has moved so much. Bill Kristol, you remember Bill Kristol used to be on the Fox Roundtable as the arch conservative? Yeah, he's over here on this side arguing against Trump. Yeah, that's how crazy and insane our politics is these days. And by the way, that sign has not come down because it keeps being proven true over. And I'm going to have to get it printed. I'm going to have to get it. That was just, me just fiddling around. I am not an artist. I'm actually going to have to come up with something more decent than this, because every damn day Trump keeps renewing this. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. But yeah, Jeanine Pirro is now a prosecutor. This is freaking insane, because the last guy Trump nominated for the job was so freaking insane. He had over 150 appearances on Russian TV. He had so many problems that even Trump said, whew, we got to give up on that one. It's just, I just want to remind everybody, every time something like this happens, it doesn't have to be this way. What I wanted more than anything once Trump got elected, was to sit here and say, whew, I was wrong, man. Trump's appointing good people, competent people. They're doing a good job. Everything's going to be okay. I really wanted to be able to say that, because that's good for the country. But no, Trump had to go out and prove me right in spades that he's a moron, dangerous. He is a Putin sycophant, and he's stupid. He's just stupid, and he's literally dying right in front of our eyes. I've got some images of him recently that are just, he's literally dying right in front of our eyes. I don't think he's going to make it to 85 like David Souter did. I think he'll die this year or the next. Deborah Ann, liberals want autonomy for your private life, but regulations in public life, but our current Republicans want to control our private lives while relaxing our regulations in public life. Spot on, Deborah Ann. Spot on. Perfect. Thank you for supporting the show. And that is a perfect point. Patty, is it Angeles or Angels, or help me out with the pronunciation here? Patty, new supporter for the show. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. Yes, SNL really has a good time with Judge Panetta. Yeah. What is that? Forgive me. I've been focusing on many things today. So I've got several points that I've just actually, that are on the front of my mind. I cannot remember. Cicely, what is her name that does Jeanine Pirro so well on Saturday Night Live? Catherine Ryan, instead of playing Hail to the Chief at the start of cabinet meetings, they should play circus music. Amen. I hear it. This is stupid. It didn't have to be this way. It didn't have to be this way. There are competent people they could have appointed. There are. I will tell you this. There are some people that are not Democrats that are not buffoons. There are some out there. They didn't have to appoint drunks. They just didn't. They chose to. They chose this. Mark Savari, hours without him being a moron. No kidding, right? Do we ever get really hours? Or is it more like minutes? Because every time I turn around, this guy's just doing stupid shit. But I was talking about George Conway and lost track of my thought here. George Conway is not a liberal, but here he is nailing it. And this was put out on Blue Sky from George Conway. This he actually beat me to this. This is something that I've been actually thinking about with Pete Hegseth, was advertising the address, the mailing address for the Pentagon, so that we can send bottles of scotch to the Pentagon. Because at least Pete Hegseth, if he was like plowed under drunk, wouldn't be dangerous, because he wouldn't be functioning. But George Conway nailed it here. I know some of you may do this anyway, but I nonetheless urge you not to send items like these to of course, it's tongue-in-cheek not, like these to the United States Attorney's Office for the District of Columbia, 601 D Street, Northwest Washington, D.C. 20530. Please do not do that. Thank you. I wonder how much box wine is going to show up at that address. I really do. And we are back. The stream did not end. I apologize. We lost power here. Ran off battery backup for a few minutes. That's why my dear wife was telling me it looked like that we had lost signal, but no, it wasn't. I apologize for that bleep. We ran off battery backup for the first few minutes of the show. I was unaware of it because, again, all of this is running off battery backup. Thank you, folks, for doing that. But it finally died. So we're back. We are back. Thank you for hanging in there. I appreciate you. Thank you for hanging in there. I'm telling you, folks, it is crazy. It is crazy living in Texas. You never know. 1 second. Quick delay there. Back on the right internet system, should be clear now. Yeah, it's that great Texas infrastructure. Yes, it is. It's just, for some reason, on a bright sunny day with no storm, no nothing, we just lost power for a few minutes. That's why we went to a battery backup system, folks, because that happens here. So yeah, we were talking about Jeanine Pirro, and Boxwine Barbie is now a prosecutor with all the responsibilities. You're telling me that this buffoon that can barely do a talk show is going to somehow run a prosecutor's office? No, that's not going to happen. That is not going to happen. That is not going to happen. To be quite honest with you, it is not going to happen. You need to clarify if this is tongue in cheek or if we just got to kick you the fuck out of here. I mean, if it's a joke, clarify it. But if you're just a bigot, you got to go, my friend. I'm assuming it was a joke, but for all means, for the mods, clarify it before you go bye-bye. But that's not all that we've got to talk about as far as prosecutors concerned. This has happened. I knew it was a joke. Thanks, Brian. I appreciate you for clearing that. I appreciate you for clarifying that. Yeah, talking about prosecutors, that is not the only thing that's happened around here. Ever since Trump got prosecuted, he has been attacking Leticia James. He has. His team went out and put together a bunch of allegations. One, they tried to declare that she's not legally the attorney general, that she has to live in the state. And, she has, because she bought a house in Virginia and the paperwork has it listed as her primary residence. So they tried to say, oh, well, she's not qualified. She can't be prosecuting this. And she said, no, that's not the case. I am buying a house in Virginia for my father because my father is elderly, and that is where I'm going to move to. As soon as this case is over, I'm thinking about retiring, and that's going to be my primary residence. Nothing wrong with that, but they have declared that that is somehow a crime, which it is not in the slightest. So this is, one second, I had his image up for you. There's a Trump appointee. One second. Thank you for being so patient today. Thank you for being so patient today. There's a Trump appointee by the name of Bill Pulte that is responsible for starting this nonsense. This is Bill Pulte. And he looks exactly like you would think he would look. He looks exactly like you would think he would look. So we're going to get into this. We're going to talk about the allegations and how they've already all been shot down. This is Bill Pulte. Why do they all look the same? Why do they all look the same? He sent a letter to bigot Barbie, Pam Bondi, and said, oh, we got to investigate this. This is a crime. It is not a crime. It is not. This, it's really simple. There's like 3 allegations that they've made that they're claiming are crimes, none of which are crimes. None of which are crimes. They're not even against the rules, much less crimes. And these have all been shot down because these were the bullshit games that Trump was trying to play when he was guilty of crimes, overvaluing his apartment, to when he went to get a loan, undervaluing it when he went to pay taxes, just all the fraud he was committing. He was trying to attack the prosecutor. And these were the allegations they came up with. And they were all shot down. They were all shot down. It's what they do. They attack the government when the government holds them accountable. So you got the house in Virginia where she bought a house for her. This is her father, Robert James. Give you an idea how elderly he is. This is Robert James right here to her right. It is not against the law. It's not even fraud to say, you know what, I'm going to buy a house and move to Virginia and take care of my dad. That's just not a crime. It isn't. And they're like, well, no, you've got to declare, she said that when she was buying the house that she was a resident of Virginia and she would have, no, she did not. No, she did not. That is not how that works at all. This is really clear and easy to understand. This one isn't hard. Under construction, I don't have patience. I have knitting needle. Oh, the Brysons. Yeah. I hear you. I hear you. Thanks for supporting the show. I really appreciate you guys. I really do. Kate Marylight, thanks for always being here. Going after everyone he hates, a strong black woman being on top of the list. They had better not try this crap with VP Harris. This is what they've been trying since the trial. These have all been debunked. All of them. When you go to buy a house, you don't own it. You don't own it. You can't declare it your residence. You can only declare your intent. That's it. You can only declare your intent to make it your residence. How in the hell is that a crime? It's not. She absolutely bought a house with her father, for her father, so that she could take care of her father. No one intends to stay in, I mean, New York's a great place. It really is. But very, 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 very few people retire in New York City. It is incredibly expensive to live, tax-wise, food, travel, rent, of course. Cost of living is exceptionally high. No one retires in New York City. That just does not happen. So she bought a house in Virginia, which is what people do. They move to Florida, they move to Virginia, they move to Texas, places where it's dirt cheap to live. That's what she did. She bought a house in Virginia. The other thing that they're accusing her of a crime over is that when the loan paperwork was filled out, since they were both buying the loan, rather than doing the work to rewrite everything, they had the father and Leticia James listed as spouses. Obviously not. The broker knew it. Everybody knew it. The loan processor knew it. Everybody knew it. It's just a matter of a paperwork snafu. No one tried to fraudulently change the value of the residence to get a more substantial loan. Nobody tried to devalue the residence so they wouldn't pay taxes. None of that is true. So yeah, investigate away. Investigate away. You have no crime. The third allegation is on this building right here. Spicy gesture. This is an amazing era we live in. We have an American Pope and a Russian president. God, Jimmy Kimmel kills it all the time. Thanks for supporting the show. Thank you. Colleen Sarah. Midas Touch reported Bondi has been asked to arrest Aaron Parnes for discussing someone else's article regarding planned ICE raids in Washington. They are desperate to try to scare us folks. They are. And you know what I think? Fuck you, Pam Bondi. That's what I think. Fuck you. That's what I think. I'm scared. They're a joke. Bigot Barbie's a fucking joke. ET says they need a hook to go after anyone, especially if they are on the enemies list, and that's a waste of tax dollars for this dung. Exactly. He is the lamest of lame ducks, and they're flailing. They are flailing. This is the last allegation they made, which is just hilarious. This one is so easy to slap down. When she's got to live in New York, right? She's working in New York. She's got to live in New York. Now you can either rent an apartment for $4,000 to $5,000 a month, or you can just buy a damn building. Yeah, the mortgage ends up being similar. I'm not even kidding, folks. Go do the math. The cost of buying a building versus renting ain't that different. Especially when you figure in, if you buy the building, you're going to be taking in rent. By the time you do all that math, It's not a bad way to go if you can swing it. She got a loan on this building that is designed for buildings that are 4 families or less. Great. She only rents out 4 units in this building. She lives in and has an office in the other unit. It's a 5-unit building, but only 4 units are rented, which is exactly what that loan is designed to do. Good luck with that. Good luck making a criminal case out of that. Bring it, bitches. Bring it. Absolutely. But of course, the clowns, the fucking clowns, have been going. Leticia James held a town hall to answer to the people. So these clowns were saying, you need to apologize to Trump. You need to apologize for convicting him of a crime that he absolutely committed. These people have no morals whatsoever. None. They have no morals whatsoever. They would let Trump shit in their wife's hair and call it a hot oil treatment. These people are such cult clowns. 100%. They are. They are just cult clowns. And speaking of Trump being a clown, folks, don't stress about Leticia James. She's an excellent attorney. She's hired an excellent defense attorney who has specialized in kicking Trump's dick in. The attorney she's hired is Pam Bondi's nightmare. She's literally making a practice out of just beating the shit out of Pam Bondi. So yeah, this is going to be fun to watch. Watch this space. This is going to be fun to watch. Watch Legal AF. Watch this. This is really freaking great. You're going to absolutely love this. George Allen, this coffee cup is fantastic. Texas Paul, so well made. I'm ordering me another one. Love the big handle. Yeah, me too. I love the new cups. I really do. I'm glad we updated and went to, it's sturdier. You could smack somebody with it if you have to. I hate the thinner handles on the other one. Thanks, my friend. I appreciate you. Thanks for supporting the show, too. But yeah, don't sweat it about Leticia James. Don't. She's going to make fools out of them. She's going to make absolute fools out of them. And it's going to go right into, they're desperate. If you can smell it, they're desperate for something to take into the election. They just are. They're desperate to take into something to take into the midterms, and they're going to get frickin' humiliated because it's just getting worse. You cannot run this country on fantasy. You can't. You can have your right-wing closet fantasies when you're not in power and you're talking shit about, if we just do this, this will happen. If we just get rid of all the immigrants, that, all the crime will go away, even though immigrants commit less crime than anyone else, and they are engines to our economy. No, when you get to reality and you try to deport a ton of people, what you end up with is crime doesn't really go down because they're not the ones committing the crimes, and your economy tanks. Right-wing fantasy does not work in reality. Case in point, Donald Trump talking about the ports are empty, and he has to acknowledge that they are, in fact, empty, and that shipping has absolutely plummeted, and that inflation is absolutely on the way, and that empty shelves are on the way. Listen to him. He absolutely acknowledges it. He just tries to say it's a good thing.
Because business has slowed down, as you mentioned, we're seeing as a result, the ports here.
In China, I'm going to start it over. In China, in China. No. In Long Beach, California. In Newark, New Jersey. In Seattle, Washington. Not China.
Because business has slowed down, as you mentioned, we're seeing as a result, the ports here in the US, the traffic has really slowed, and now thousands of dock workers and truck drivers are worried about their jobs.
That means we lose less money. You know, when I see that, that means we lose less money. Look, China was making.
Okay, first of all, he says that's good. And then listen to this reason. Oh, we lose less money.
Over $1 trillion, 1.1 trillion, in my opinion. You know, different numbers from 500 billion to $1 trillion or $1 trillion. I think it was 1.1 trillion. And frankly, if we didn't do business, we would have been better off. Okay, you understand that. So when you say it slowed down, that's a good thing, not a bad thing.
Because business has slowed down, as you mentioned, we're seeing.
China.
I'm going to try to explain this one more time for the stupids if one of them happens to wander in here. I know you folks get this. Y'all get this. My wife drives a Honda that she really likes. Very well-made car. I have a trade deficit with the Honda dealership. Yeah. I bought a car from them. They didn't buy shit from me. And then as far as I can tell, maybe, I don't know, maybe Honda's in the chat supporting this show, but I don't think so. I don't recognize any of the names. And I know the people that run the Honda dealership. I have a trade deficit with the Honda dealership. That doesn't mean shit. I didn't lose money. I didn't lose money. I gave them money and they gave me a car. Yeah. That's how trade works. We don't lose money when we buy goods made in China. That's a lie. That's a falsehood. That is just called trade. Trade is a good thing. Yes, trade is a good thing. There is no such thing as an evil trade deficit. There is no parity. There is just the reality that you buy the goods you need from where you can get them. That's it. That's all it is. Now, there are problems with trade. Like, say, a country may try to prevent you from importing something. That's a problem, but that is not anything to do with a trade deficit. That is just a point of negotiation that you need to work out. Keep that in mind because we're going to talk about the UK here in just a second. I'm going to give the example I always give again because it's really easy for simple people to understand. You folks in the audience are well beyond this. Just hang with me for a little bit. You already know this. Take Hawaii. They grow pineapples in Hawaii. They do. Say Hawaii, some of the people in Hawaii want to be their own nation. They do. Wave the magic wand, Hawaii is its own nation. Just ignore that. Because it could be any island in the Pacific. They grow pineapples. Do you folks like pineapple? I like pineapple. I do. If Hawaii was its own nation, we would have a trade deficit with Hawaii. You know why? Because they would buy durable goods from us or Europe or somewhere in the form of tractors and farm implements and diesel fuel. But they only need so much of it to grow their pineapples. On the other hand, we freaking like pineapples. So we're going to buy all the freaking pineapples they can grow. We just are. That's the way it works. We would have a trade deficit with Hawaii if it was its own nation. Is that a bad thing? No. There's no economic principle that says that is a bad thing. That is what we call capitalism, boys and girls. And just because you're buying goods from China doesn't make it any less capitalism. trade deficits are a made up thing. They're not a real metric to measure the health of your economy. They aren't. It is Trump Fantasyland bullshit to try to sell his tariffs. Now, why are they trying to sell tariffs? Because Johnny Got Rocks and the Broligarchs don't like paying taxes. And all the tariffs are is transferring Johnny Got Rocks taxes to you. Yeah, that's all it is. See, you pay the tariffs. And if they can reduce Johnny Got Rocks' taxes, which they're doing in the bill that they're passing through Congress right now, they're going to pass those taxes because shit's got to be paid for to you in the form of tariffs. That's all this is. It's not 3D chess. It's not, Trump negotiating hard. No. He's just trying to negotiate as much of a tariff as possible he can get the world to fucking swallow so that they can write those taxes off for Johnny Got Rocks and the Broligarchs and Elon Musk and those fucking guys. Because every one of these trade deals, yeah, one of the sticking points is they've got to accept Starlink. What? You mean that Donald Trump is negotiating on behalf of Elon Musk because Elon Musk wrote him several $100 million in checks in the last election? What? That sounds like corruption to me. Well, it fucking is in broad daylight. Pavlon 01, living in fantasy, escaping reality. What an a-hole. Yeah, thanks for supporting the show, man. Thanks for always being here. One of the foundational members of the show. Yeah, they're really doing that. One of the sticking points that they're declaring must be addressed with every one of these trade deals is Starlink, which is a problem in Europe because Europe has its own company that's really trying to get started that's going to compete with Starlink that you should be able to buy here in a couple years because they are growing and expanding. They're in the similar to the first years when Starlink first came out. Yeah, that's where they're at. And old Elon Musk is trying to kill them before they can compete. Yeah. And this is just how stupid this is. This moron, y'all know trade negotiations start with China Saturday, right? Actually, technically not Saturday. They begin Saturday, but the real work won't begin till the following work week. Try to get these people to work on a weekend. That's not going to happen. But Saturday is when they start. Mr. Art of the Deal has begun negotiations already with himself. He's negotiated himself down to 80% tariffs on China before the fucking negotiations begin. Let me say that again. Negotiations don't start till Saturday, but Trump negotiated with himself from 140% tariffs down to 80 because he's just a fucking genius. I hate you people that voted for this moron. I will hate you forever. Forever. I will never forgive this. Ever. I will never forgive this. Teresa Washington Dump says we've saved money. Yes, but what about the people that are no longer getting paid? Call the dudes in white jackets. Amen. Yeah, those truck drivers that are not working, not saving money. Those dock workers that are going to get laid off, not saving money. Nope. That's all bullshit. This is the stupidity that we live in. Bonnie Curtis says, no, thank you to Starlink. Me too. I would not buy an Apple from Elon Musk. I don't trust the son of a bitch. I don't. And I don't want him to profit off anything I do. I will never use Starlink. I will never buy a Tesla. And I would tell anybody that will listen, never do business with him. Let us break him to prove a point. But yeah, I will tell you, it's always something. It's always something. There's always something behind this stupidity. Trump comes out and shoots himself in the foot before the negotiations begin. Donald Long, thanks for supporting the show. I appreciate you. Thank you. Why? Why do something so imbecilic? I'll tell you why. Take a look at this and tell me what you glean from this. 80% tariff on China seems right, up to Scott B. China should open up its markets to the USA. Would be so good for them. Closed markets don't work anymore. What do you take from this? Now, I want you to think politically. Because this is obviously not a real trade negotiation. But what does this tell you? What are you pulling politically from this? What is happening here? I love you people so damn much. I love you people so damn much. Dee Abel, Scott B, fall guy. Yep. Let's read that first part again. 80% tariff on China seems right. Up to Scott B. Oh, really? Talking about Scott Bessent, of course. Hasn't been up to Scott Bessent so far. Oh, wait a minute. Scott Bessent's now responsible for this? Huh. Oh. Guess who just went under the bus? Yeah. The entire world has woken Trump up to the fact that Peter Navarro is a fucking moron. And he should have never listened to him in the first place. Because no, Donald Trump didn't come up with the whole tariffs thing on his own. He didn't. Mr. faked his way through Wharton, took a couple of classes in Wharton when he graduated from UPenn and tried to claim he graduated from Wharton School of Business. And Wharton School of Business says, no, he did not. Daddy paid his way through. Yeah, no. Trump didn't come up with this on his own. This is all Peter Navarro, his fever dream. Let's pass tariffs. Yeah, pass tariffs. And we'll go as high as we can. And then we'll roll them back to 10, 20%. We'll get the market to swallow it like a cheap hooker for $20. And everything will normalize, but we'll have that tariff revenue that we can pass as tax cuts for you and me. Woo! Woo! The entire world has told Donald Trump, this is idiocy. This is stupidity in the extreme. This isn't going to work. And Donald Trump doesn't want to be held responsible for it. So he just threw Scott Bessent under the bus. Scott Bessent now chooses what the tariffs are. Bullshit. That's all Donald Trump. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow, it's Donald Trump. You can try to throw Scott Bessent under the bus, but that ain't going to work. We see you, Donnie dumbass. Mandolius, here's a few bucks for my late fee and a few for the jar, but I think I got here in time for the cussing. Yeah, you did, brother. You did. I'm sorry. This is beyond stupid. Yeah, Scott B equals Evil Smithers. Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? If y'all are Smithers from shit, tongue tied. The Simpsons, from The Simpsons. Now that's funny. Jason Crow. I forgot what I was going to say, but here's $5. Oh, that is funny. That is funny. Joseph Galati, thanks for supporting the show. Thank you to from our European audience. Thank you for being here. Thank you, guys. We need your point of view. We really do. We need your point of view. But yeah, this is the same kind of stupidity. You remember Thursday, huge announcement, biggest trade deal ever. Biggest trade deal ever. Yeah. This is their announcement. And this is why I hate the corporate media. This is even the BBC, who I normally like, but this headline is echoed throughout all of the corporate media. US and UK agree deal slashing Trump tariffs on cars and metals. There is no signed deal. There isn't. There's no trade agreement at all. There's an outline of a trade agreement, and Trump unilaterally lowered some tariffs. The UK said they would, but didn't. And I'll explain that here in just a second. But yeah, that again, who does this serve? Who does this? One, it's not real. There is no signed trade agreement. They admitted that on Thursday when reporters started asking questions, and they got pissed off and pissy because the reporters were like, okay, who signed the deal? What is the deal? Can we read the deal? There is no deal. There's no signed deal. There's just a verbal agreement. Well, we'll lower some tariffs on your metals and your cars, and you lower tariffs on our cows. You agree to buy some of our beef. Yeah, let me show you how smart the UK is and how stupid Trump is. Just stick with me. Jeanine, 2009. Thank you for supporting the show. And Trump only came back to escape jail and regain his fortune, period. Yeah, he is grifting all the way. Zix. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I think I look butt ass ugly, but thank you. I appreciate that. Kath, this is Dumpany's retribution and revenge against the entire country for 2020. He hates America. He is a selfish, and I agree with that. I do think he hates America. I think he resents us all. Jeff Compton, thanks for supporting the show. Let me explain what the UK did. The UK, Keir Starmer said, oh yeah, we got a deal, man. You can get your Jaguar. You can get your Bentley. You can get your Rolls Royce and your Land Rover real cheap, man. Johnny Got Rocks ain't going to pay that extra money for his luxury cars, because that's all you get out of Europe. I mean, minis. Minis too. You can buy mini. But no, that's a very small fraction of what's imported. It's Johnny Got Rocks getting his break on the cost of his car. That's what happened. But the UK, as far as the UK buying, 10,000 metric tons of our beef? No, that's not happening. That's not happening. And yes, they said they would, but they don't buy our beef because our beef doesn't meet their standards. See, they've got trade deals within the European Union. And that's why they don't buy our beef. Wait till the local ranchers who are like, whoo, I know I voted for Trump for a reason, man. Ooh, boy, I know. I can't wait for them contracts to come in. Yo, baby. Yeah, Trump. I can hear him, man. Trump. Yeah. Wait till you find out that if you want to sell that beef to the UK, everything from the moment that calf spits out onto the ground to the point where the processor sells it has to meet their standards. And you don't do that right now. You can't be a rancher like you are here in the United States and sell that beef over there. Yeah, because this is what Keir Starmer just said to clarify after Thursday, saying, oh, yeah, we made a deal on beef. Well, guess what? The European ranchers and the English ranchers said, well, wait a minute. What do you mean? You're going to let beef in that we don't let in the country? Keir Starmer said the UK said there would be no weakening in food standards for imports. Yeah. So much for selling your beef. They can open a big dog food plant over there because that'd be the only thing that'd be allowed to use that beef. Yeah, Trump's a moron. The only thing stupider than Trump is a Trump voter. Samita Fakeda, thank you for always being here. Thanks for supporting the show. As our supply chain collapses again, Trump and MAGA morons will blame everyone else while Trump taxes move billionaires into libertarian tech bros' pockets. Trump talks big, but has no stick. Yeah, he is a moron. The only thing stupider than Donald Trump is a Donald Trump voter. Ron Slater, thanks for the support. I appreciate you for supporting the show. Yeah, folks, do you understand that? I mean, did I make that point perfectly clear? You can say, oh, yeah, we made a deal to buy beef, which there is no signed deal. But if that beef doesn't meet the UK standards, which is what keeps it out of the UK right now, you didn't change shit. Are you following me here? Are you getting what I'm laying down? Jeanine, and they confirmed it. Keir Starmer absolutely confirmed exactly what I just told you. Jeanine, 2009, thanks for supporting the show. With the fall of the FDA, no one will buy any of our food products. Exactly. We can send them raw milk. No, we can't. It doesn't meet their production standards. Kelly D, thank you for spending your time educating all of us. I can throw out facts and walk away when I get those MAGA talking points. Amen. That's the point. That's why we do it. That is why we do it. So yeah, that's the last of the Trumpism crap. The Republicans are in some deep kimchi. Well, you know what? I got one more thing for you as far as Trump's concerned. I got one more thing for you. Let's get rid of this because this video keeps auto starting on its own without me. I was going to save this we're going to talk about the new Pope for a little bit. And I was going to play this video later, but again, this video is drawing resources because it won't stop. Even though I keep pausing it and telling it to stop, it won't stop. So we're just going to get it out of the way. This is Trump. When they asked him about the new Pope, I want you to listen to this. This is just how pathetic and stupid he is. See if you can catch what's wrong with what he says here.
Are you planning to meet the Pope in the near future?
Mr. President.
Have you called him before? They've already called. When is that? Do you have a time in mind?
They have already spoken to us. We'll see what happens. But again, to have the Pope from the United States of America, that's a great honor. That's a great honor.
Can you catch what's wrong there? To give you some idea, this was yesterday afternoon, right after the Pope was named. Can you guess why that's bullshit? Don Dorff, Texas Paul, your impressions of Trump voters, laugh I need after another rough week. I'm telling you, Cletus is easy. He is easy to predict. He really is, and he's easy to imitate. Yeah, this is the bullshit right there. They have already called. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. Nobody's calling you. Nobody is calling you. You said China was calling. China didn't call you. China said, release the records, prove it. We didn't call you for shit. And you know who didn't call Trump immediately after the new pope was selected by the Cardinal College? The Vatican. Yeah, the Vatican didn't call Trump. Trump is so desperate to seem like he's important, like the world revolves around him, that he had to come out and say that lie. He couldn't just say, yeah, of course, it's the Pope. Of course, I will meet with the Pope. We wish him the best of luck. Hopefully we can iron out any differences that we have. No, he called me already. He called me. He loves me. Everybody loves Trump. Don't you know that? Everybody loves me. Bullshit. And the whole world knows it. And that's why he looks so weak and stupid all the damn time. It's just a slow, easy one right over the plate. He couldn't help himself. He just couldn't help himself. David McKinney, thank you, man. Hey, man. Hey, back at you. Thanks for supporting the show. Very grateful. You folks make this possible. You pay for the battery backup. You pay for the internet connections. You pay for the streaming software. The lights, you keep it happening, man, and I'm grateful. I am truly grateful. Carl Rossi, deep down, Trump believed he couldn't be the Pope. That was sick. That really pissed a lot of people off. That picture he put out of him as Pope, that pissed off a lot of people. But he can't help but make it about himself. He can't. I mean, I just want you to think, just think politically for a second. What an easy one. What a slow one right over the plate for you to knock it right out of the park. So simple. You can't screw this up. All you got to say is, we wish the new Pope well. We hope we can get along with him. We look forward to meeting him at some time in the future. I'm sure he has his hands full as he's just been selected. Anything we can do to help. That's it. That's it. That's all you have to do. That's all you have to say. No. Trump couldn't do that. He already called me. Yeah, because everybody loves Trump. What a pathetic jerk off. And speaking of pathetic, we were talking about the Republicans and their fantasies cannot live in the real world. And they are coming to it, and they're face planting into the wall. Hell, you had Ted Cruz out there bitching about Trump's tariffs. Of course, he was doing it in a complete MAGA suck-up, sycophantic way, trying to blame some mystical, magical somebody that doesn't exist for the problems when it was all Trump. But he was begging Trump, don't listen to Peter Navarro anymore. But I'm not going to play that because he's just too idiot and not important enough. But yeah, Barb Haynes, thanks for supporting the show. I appreciate you. I appreciate you being here. But yeah, this has happened to the Republicans. That Johnny Got Rocks ball guzzling, taint licking. And no, the person that emailed me and asked me to not say that anymore. No, I'm going to say it a lot. You're probably in the wrong place. This has happened to the Republicans. They looked at their own budget and they realized what the effects of it are. And now Republicans are defecting. They're like, what? Because this happens immediately. This is instant pain. The moment they pass this bill, exactly, Steve McLeod, exactly. It is a rake step. It is stepping on a rake, man. Their own members have figured out the minute they pass this bill, grandma gets kicked out of her old folks home. In fact, the old folks home shuts down and everybody's grandma gets kicked out because without the Medicaid money, you can't keep these old folks homes open. Even the people that aren't on Medicaid that are paying their way without any Medicaid can't keep the doors open, not by themselves. They can't make rent. They can't pay the staff. They can't pay the rent on the building that they build. They took a mortgage out when they built these buildings. You've got to have that Medicaid money. And the Republicans have figured that out. They thought they could just say, oh, it's welfare, them brown people. And then reality came home. And they looked at it and said, oh, shit, it's not brown people. And the fact that we keep saying that isn't going to mean shit when grandma comes home. And our voters got to wipe grandma's ass from now on. Yeah. They're in a mess. They are in a mess. All of the promises, they promised Johnny Got Rocks the tax cuts. That's why Johnny Got Rocks paid so much for this last election to get Trump into office, because they were going to do the tariffs and they were going to pass the tax bill from Johnny Got Rocks to you. And nobody likes that. They can't keep that promise. They're going to try to wiggle it in there so that some of it stays, so that they can give some of it back to Johnny Got. None of that is going to make life better, the world better in either way, fix our financial house. None of that is happening. Everything they bring in from those tariffs is going to go straight to tax cuts for Johnny Got Rock. That's already in their bill. They're desperately trying to come up with $1.5 trillion in tax cuts, spending offsets for the tax cuts that are in this bill. And they can't. Because you folks, you are the smart people. You're not the dummies. You're not the morons. You're not the Trump voters. If you wanted to come up with $1.5 trillion out of the federal budget, what are the two classes of people that you've got to absolutely screw? Who gets screwed? Because there's only that much money in two portions of the federal government. Who takes it in the backside to come up with $1.5 trillion in tax cuts? Come on, folks. You know the answer. That's one group. It's the old folks and the disabled. That's one group. And what's the other group? I knew you, Jeremy Breeden, right there in the house. High five, brother. High five. High five. Absolutely. The only two places in the budget that have that kind of money in it are what we spend on grandma and what we spend on our soldiers. That's it. That's the only place to get it. And you can't tariff your way into $1.5 trillion without absolutely destroying the global economy. And then what does that do for your oligarchs? That you were going to get the tax cuts? Because what good is a tax cut when you're fucking broke? Yeah. Reality done come home, baby. Reality done come home. And the Republicans don't know what to do. Because this whole tariff thing, even dummies have figured that one out. I mean, you can see video after video after video of MAGA morons, a handful of MAGA morons that are like, China's going to pay all the tariffs. Like, no, they're not. You pay the tariffs. You pay the tariffs in the form of inflation. You pay the tariffs. And I have to say, folks, the corporate media, we have to be careful. We have to be careful with the corporate media. I watched a report on Good Morning America yesterday. You can go back and watch it. And they were talking about tariffs and cars because of the announcement Thursday about the cars from the UK. And they were trying to make the point. Well, actually, they just flat out said this, and it's wrong. It's false, 100% false. Omniscient thinks, I may go into hell for this, but when I saw the new Pope, all I can hear Cult of Personality as his theme song when he was walking out. I'm telling you that we're going to talk about the Pope here and a lot of the objections to him. We're going to talk about that. We are. Hang in there. We're going to get there. Let's talk about Good Morning America and the shit that they were trying to sell. They were talking about the idea that, oh, you should go buy a car now to beat the tariffs. Too late. Too late. Everybody that has anything is jacking their prices and claim it's because of the tariffs. It is. All that stuff they pre-ordered to beat the tariffs, they've already jacked the prices on, and they're telling you it's because of the tariffs. Politically, I'm like, go for it. Do it. The more pain, the better. The more people wake up. Politically, as an American, it sickens me. It sickens me. It's fucking gouging. It is. It's gouging. But that's what's going on, is the gouging. Now let's talk about the cars for a minute, because they said, well, you know what? Even when the tariffs go in place, there'll be cars out there that aren't subject to the tariffs. And those you get a deal on. No, you can't. No, you can't. Stop coddling stupid. Thanks for being here supporting the show. Only so much blood squeezed from a rock. That is true. That is true. You can never fund a government off poor people. ET, taxation without representation is tyranny. Trump tariff taxes are against Article 1, and we revolted over similar. Call, email Congress, and let them know. Hell yeah, raise hell. Raise hell. Because this is why. The corporate media is trying to shill for Trump in these tariffs. And Good Morning America was trying to sell, well, there will be cars that'll be good deals, and you should buy those. No, there will not. Let's say that there's the magical car that exists that's only made here with parts that are only made here from materials that are only made here. Let's find that magical car somewhere. Even our pickup trucks are made in Canada and Mexico, but we're going to pretend that car exists. So you've got that car and you're selling it. Everybody else's cars. And folks, you know me. I don't bullshit. Things are complicated, and this is a very simplistic. This addresses just one point in this entire complex subject. Okay? So don't think that this is everything on the subject. It's not. It's just one point. Okay? But let's say, yeah, we'll call it the La car. The La car. It is the La car. Thanks, Tone. I appreciate you, man. We'll call it the La car. It is the car that's made on, again, materials. Parts are manufactured here. It's assembled here. Everything is here. No tariffs on that car. If you're selling the La car and every other car just got more expensive, what did you just do to the price of your La car? Did you, because out of the kindness of your heart, are going to ignore all the principles of capitalism, and you're not going to raise the price of your car because you can, because if they want a car that's hit with tariffs from 10 to 25%, depending on where they come from, or more, you're not going to raise your prices to just under that, right? You wouldn't do that. That would be capitalism. And that would be just wrong, wouldn't it? Well, wait, no, it wouldn't. That would be what they taught you in business school, wouldn't it? Because that's exactly what you're going to do. Good morning, America. Fuck you and your bullshit carrying water for Donald Trump and telling the American people shit that isn't true. It's not true. Even if the La car existed, which it doesn't, there is no car out there that is not going to be hit at some level from these fucking tariffs. But if it did exist, Business 101 tells you that car is going up in price, just like everyone else's. So stop lying for Trump. Colleen Sarah, first ever, proud of Northeast Rep Bacon for being the only Republican to vote no with Dems against the renaming of Gulf of Mexico, called it juvenile. Yeah, he's been knocking it out of the park. My bet is that old Bacon switches parties. He's had about enough. He's had about enough. Good man. Good man. He really is. He's doing, I disagree with him on much, but no, I got to respect what he's been doing. Yeah, I just can't. I'm sorry. I can't handle this anymore, folks. I can't handle people sitting on my television saying stuff that is just provably 100% false to carry Donald Trump's ball sack for him. That is bullshit. That is crap. I mean, it is just pure crap. Could you imagine being the CEO that sells the La cars and going to your investors and saying, well, we're not going to raise the price of our cars with everybody else's cars. You're just not going to get that profit. No, that is not happening. Stoneflower Dragon, thanks for always being here, man. Thanks for always supporting the show. I'm really grateful. I'm really grateful. Thank you. But yeah, folks, moving on. We have a new pope. I talked to you about Matteo Zuppi, and I talked to you about Marx and all the other progressives that I was really hoping for. I did not see this happening. I really didn't see this happening. I did not think that in any way, shape, or form that the Cardinal College would select an American pope. I didn't. Even one that was serving in dioceses outside of America, which Cardinal Robert Prevost did. He was born in 1955 in Chicago, grew up in Illinois, and at the age of 20, became a priest. He moved to Peru. And God, I love you so much. I love y'all so much. Already know where I'm going with. Yes, he's the first Augustinian pope. We've had Benedictines and Jesuits and friars of different orders and different faiths and different. This is the first Augustinian, and that's significant. It really is significant. LJ Jones, thanks for being here. Thank you. I appreciate it. There was a lot of backlash when he was first announced. A lot of people in the LGBTQI plus community that just aren't happy. And I get it. I understand. I do. And inflection is difficult in type, impossible in type. So I hope you understand my responses. None of it was negative at all. I was just reminding people that no pope was going to be an LGBTQI plus activist. That just wasn't going to happen. It wasn't. Mark B, I wore it as my Texas Paul shirt while deployed in Jordan, surrounded by MAGA. It was awesome. All right, my brother. representing around the world. Thank you, my friend, and thank you for supporting the show. I'm very grateful. That shirt that you bought supports Midas Touch, and I absolutely support Midas Touch. They're the ones that sell the shirt with my face on it. I'm OG Midas Touch, one of the first contributors. I absolutely love those guys, and thank you for supporting them. Medical, do you think MAGA is disgusted at all? I mean, $2, one pencil. At what point do they feel an insult to their intelligence with all the pandering? It's already happening. It's already happening. And I'll be honest with you, let's put a pinpoint in the Pope conversation for just a second. Because I actually made a post about this, because there was a guy that was bitching online that I voted for Trump and then Trump has ruined my sneaker business because of all the tariffs. Why? I've got to say, this last election changed me like no other election ever has. I was a compassionate person. I would have genuinely felt bad. The first time around, I genuinely felt bad for farmers. I did. This time around, I don't give a shit. Wah, wah. Let me introduce you to the leopard that's going to eat your face. I don't know about you folks, but to know Donald Trump and what he is, and to choose him again, I have no sympathy for you. None at all. I honestly don't care that you're going to lose your farm. I don't care that your sneaker business has just collapsed. I don't care. I would really, and it bothered me when I read that. It bothered me because I just realized that about myself, that I have no compassion for these people. And that's not who I was. And I just really had I thought about it, did some soul searching, and it really is this last election since November. I don't care what happens to you. All I care about is what happens to us. We were the ones that wanted everybody to do better. We all do better when we all do better. Y'all just wanted to hurt people. And you thought you could be greedy. You thought you were going to make more money, even though there was nothing historically that's ever proven that any Republican ever did that for you, ever. And now you're getting screwed exactly like we told you you would be screwed. And I don't care. I don't care that you're getting laid off from your government job. Not you. I give a shit about the Democrats that are getting laid off. And that's all I care about. I don't. This whole Leticia James thing? Oh, yeah, buddy. Bring it. You know why? Eye for a fucking eye. Eye for a fucking eye. We're going to take power back from you. And when we do, I am going to do everything I can to try to get my Democratic Party to gut up and hurt you. I don't even recognize a high road anymore, much less want to be on one. No. Goose meet gander. It's on, bitches. It's on. So yeah, while the Pope wasn't calling Donald Trump, what he was doing, because he had no idea he was going to be the Pope, that's kind of the way this works. I mean, like I said, I was, everybody, Piroline and Pizza Bella, and, even me talking about Matteo Zuppi, who, which a lot of people didn't know about. These people don't know that they're going to become Pope. They don't. These things tend to happen in the Cardinal College when the doors close behind them. It's why they do it the way they do it. They went and I was surprised because Pope Leo, which is the name he chose, Leo the 14th, and we're going to talk a little bit about that, is from a Peruvian diocese. That's a lot of South American influence. You know, you had Francis that was from Buenos Aires. And then now you have Pope Leo that, again, yeah, he was born and raised in Chicago, but he's lived most of his life in Peru, which is a very conservative diocese, by the way. Skitzer, group of dioceses, by the way. Skitzer, in terms of supply chain, does anyone not remember what happened to logistics during COVID? I know. And then they put that moron back in charge. I have no sympathy. No sympathy. Your car dealership goes out of business. Oh, well. Oh, well. I don't care. Gail Brownell, the fascist secretive Opus Dei sect behind Project 2025. Leonard Leo and several SCOTUS was unsuccessful in getting one of their cardinals in as Pope. The Republicans are having a fit and falling back in it about Pope Leo. They are just absolutely going nuts about this Pope, and I'm loving it. I am loving it. Kurt Aiken, what a joy that Bob can use his formidable status to clap back often in idiomatic American English against the Christian Trumpublicans. Pope Leo will be respectful. Regina Hewitt, you know, folks, I'm not Christian, but I'm going to call him by his title, Pope Leo. And he chose that name for a reason. Thanks for supporting the show, Regina. I appreciate it. This is Pope Leo the First. This is where he draws his name from. This is Pope Leo the First. Pope Leo is known. He was an incredible intellectual, tons of writings that were formative within the church. This is a depiction of an event, a world event that really happened. The big guy on the horse is Attila the Hun. Attila had moved from the steppes of Asia. The Hun people had moved from the steppes of Asia, and Attila became their leader. Victor Batorsky, again, we're going to do a cliff notes of the history real quick. MAGA fools, welcome to my world. This is the Hun Empire. This is the Hun Empire. Started here in the steppes of Asia and moved across Europe, Northern Europe. Talk to our Northern European audience. They'll tell you this is a big part of their history when the Huns moved into Europe. Yeah, they were going to move south into Italy. And Pope Leo, as they started to move south, Pope Leo the First said, we'll see about that. And he went and stared Attila the Hun right in the eye. And there's really no depiction of what got said. But we do know that Attila, after that meeting, turned around and went north. Yeah. I mean, Leo was a badass. Leo basically laid down the law, said, good luck. These people follow me and my religion, and I will make you the enemy of God. And Attila said, fuck that noise, and went home. Yeah, Leo was a badass, but he also was a man, that embodied the concept. We all do better when we all do better. His writings reflected everything in the church. This is why Cardinal Prevost chose that name. They choose a name of significance. Pope Benedict chose that name for a reason. They always do that. This is what Pope Leo was doing when he was not calling Trump, was figuring out, okay, what is my leadership going to look like? What kind of man am I going to be? Let me choose that name. It's me. Thanks for supporting the show. Was the new American Pope a message to MAGA? I can't help but think it was. Not the sole reason he was elected, of course. Not everything revolves around America and MAGA, but it was definitely a message about the direction of the world and where we're going to go. Lily Gag, thanks for supporting. So if you hate the Pope this much because of his compassion, it may be time to start to considering you're not on the good side. Amen, Lily. Amen. Joan Cortez, I never miss your show live or taped. Super here. Thanks for being here, Joan. I appreciate you. But look, he's Augustinian. He's an Augustinian friar, or what they sometimes refer to as the Austin friars. They have they're the beliefs that you would hope every Christian would carry. They are. They really are. This is Pope Leo XIII, the last pope to carry Leo's name. Back in the 1800s, early 1800s. This is Pope Leo. One of the first popes to actually be photographed. They were just developing the technology, and he was one of the first to actually be photographed. Pope Leo XIII. He was you would like that guy. You would really freaking like that guy. He is very much he supported workers' rights, talked about the need to pay people enough to live on. Living wages was a big portion of his papacy. The ability for commoners to own land. That was something that was really transitioning. You didn't have to be a lord to own land. That was, in the early 1800s, 1700s, 1600s, 1500s, this was a big freaking deal that the common person could own their own land anywhere and everywhere worldwide. The formation of trade unions and the support of it, that was a new thing for the papacy. I mean, he's not a communist because he's talking about the right to ownership. He's a capitalist, but he's not a laissez-faire capitalist that says, let the lords do what the lords will do. We all do better when we all do better was his absolute theory. And yes, he echoed the teachings of St. Augustine of Hippo, the patron saint that St. Augustine, Florida is named after. And he immediately, when he took office, he immediately reinstated Thomasism, talking about the teachings of Thomas of Aquinas. Again, you're talking about decency, and this is the kind of thing when they choose their name, what I will be known as from henceforth to the day I die. They do it for a reason, and people are asking what the message is. That's the message. The fact that he chose the name Leo the 14th, that is huge. That tells you what the priorities are going forward with the church. That he's going to continue, even though he's from one of the most conservative group of dioceses in the world. I mean, they're not liberals down in Peru. They're not. Catholics down in Peru are a conservative bunch. He's saying, no, that's not what we're going to focus on, folks. It's not going to be about your bedroom and abortion and LGBT, our LGBTQIA people against God and all. No, I'm continuing the work of Francis. And Francis, was all about inclusion. Francis was all about, oh, wait, there are Muslims in the world. We should probably get along. That is what an Augustinian believes, that we're a community. That is a central tenet to being an Augustinian friar. They live together in communities, and that those communities should be serene. They believe, and I'm not Christian, I'm not preaching to you here, but they believe that through the joy of God and decency, that we should all just get along, because when we all get along, we all do better. That's what it is to be an Augustinian. This is the first Augustinian pope. And it's a big freaking deal. It really is. But there were a lot of people in the LGBTQ plus community that were very upset and were reaching out to me. And let me say this, I understand. I do understand. E.T., he is a young, but he's 69 for a new pope. He should be here for a long time. Yeah, looking 10, 15 years at least. 10 to 15 years at least. Here's the thing. And I want to talk to our LGBTQI plus community for a minute about this. I hear you. And when I say no pope was ever going to be an activist for you, that's just the reality of the situation. A pope has to be chosen by the Cardinal College. And the Cardinal College is never going to choose an LGBTQIA plus activist for a pope. They're just not. We all operate under the assumption that now that we have a pope, that he can just tell the world's Catholics what to do. Folks, that's not how humans work. He will lead. He will constantly remind people that we need to be inclusive, that we need to not focus on, as Francis said, who am I to judge? If a person is gay and they're trying to come to God and they have a good heart, who am I to judge? That is a huge message. No, it doesn't approve gay marriage, and no, it doesn't change the church's gospels. He can't do that right now because the diocese won't allow them. The people within the church won't allow it. They won't. You know, there's that old expression, a person is smart, people are not. And when a leader goes too far, too fast, they die. And if you don't believe me, ask Martin Luther King. So yeah, this Pope is going to continue moving his church to a more inclusive future. It is literally where he comes from as an Augustinian. It's who he is. But no, things aren't going to change overnight. And I understand that sucks. That sucks. Because I know right now the world tells people that are gay that you're not okay. You're not equal to us. You can't have everything everybody else has because of who you are. And that's bullshit. None of us would take that. And I'm not telling you to take it. I am not. I'm telling you to keep fighting. Keep fighting. All I'm saying is know the terrain for which you are currently deployed, but never give up fighting. Folks, you may hear about Stonewall, but I would bet most of you don't know what it is. This is the Stonewall Inn. It's in New York, was in New York City, it's still in New York City. It is considered by many to be the beginning of the fight in this country for gay rights. The New York City Police, this is about a block off Bleecker Street. It's on Christine Avenue in New York City. It still stands there today. What happened at Stonewall back in 1969 was the NYPD, the old Irish boys of the NYPD decided they were going to go roust some gay folks. That's really what it was. They used the excuse that Stonewall didn't have a liquor license, but Jesus, there were pubs and inns all over New York City that didn't have liquor licenses. They were there because they were gay. Wrong day, wrong time, wrong group of people. They had had enough. And they rioted. They fought back. They kicked the shit out of those cops. They did. They didn't take it. They fought back. And that's what created what is known now as the Stonewall riots. They had enough. My friends in the LGBTQIA plus community, I am telling you, keep that spirit. Keep that spirit. Keep fighting. But hating on Pope Leo XIV, that's not your target. It's not. You catch more flies with honey than you do vinegar, and that guy wants to come to you. But he is limited by the fact that he has to be the leader of some very fucking ignorant people. And I don't mean to, my family's Catholic. I am not insulting Catholics in general. I am just telling you a lot of your beliefs are ignorant and old and need to die. It's just we're not there yet. Suna, thank you so much for this education. I love history. I love the world. I love people, and people are history. People are history. I mean, if you love history, you love people. But I get where it hurts, because every time we get a new pope, it's just a reminder that there is one of the largest institutions in the world representing massive amounts of people that aren't accepting that you're just equal. And I want to let you in on a little secret. I know the gay agenda. They let me in. They let me in and told me what the agenda is. I know what the gay agenda is. My grandson is gay, by the way. And this old cisgendered hillbilly boy, I'm going to spill the tea with you. You know what the gay agenda is? To live their lives. That's it. They just want to live their lives. They are who they are. They're born that way. We know that now. It is literally a construct of the mind. What you desire is literally a construct of the mind. And the gay agenda is to just live their lives exactly like we live our lives. Nothing more, nothing less. Just to be accepted as a human being, the people that they are, and not hated for no damn reason. That's it. That's the big gay agenda. And your crazy ass drunk uncle and your nasty ass carries a Bible around for a fashion statement, fake ass Christian aunt can all go to hell, because when it happens again, guess where this old hillbilly boy is going to be fighting? Guess which side I'm going to be on? Guess which side I'm going to be on? Because, folks, it's not a catchphrase. It's not a saying. It is who I am. I have lived through this life. I am old enough to have had my ass kicked by life multiple times. I have grown. I have learned. And I am telling you, there is nothing better in this world than all of us just living our lives as best we can, loving each other, peace. Everybody has enough to eat. Everybody has health care. Nobody gets hated. That's everything. And that's what I want for my family. That's what I want for my kids, my grandkids. And yeah, I'll fight you for it. So you think this is the new era of bigots because we got a white supremacist that's just fired the first professional librarian of Congress that we've had since the 1970s, I think it is. Hired in 1916, or pardon me, 1916. Yeah, hired her in 1916. She's one of them 150-year-olds getting him Social Security. No, hired in 2016. Trump just fired her. I give you one guess why he fired her. I ain't even going to make you guess. She's black. First professional librarian that we've had since like the 1970s in the Library of Congress, and he fired her for no damn reason. Just because the white supremacists think that this is their heyday. Well, I got a message for you. Bring it, bitch. Bring it, because I'm here, and we're going to have to fight about it. Bring it. But you remember, because I'm going to beat you. I'm going to beat you in the midterms. Everybody's seen what you are. Everybody knows what you are. There is no infighting amongst ourselves anymore. We are galvanized because of you and the shit that you did. And yeah, Trump's going to go away, but that doesn't matter. You're still going to fucking be here, and I'm never forgetting who you are. So you remember when you go to whine like a little bitch, when I do to you what you're trying to do to everybody else, but I'm doing it because everybody does better when everybody does better. And we're not going to shit on people. And I'm just as hard on you. And I fire you for no other cause than who the fuck you are. Don't whine. Don't whine. You did it first. Well, that's what I've got for you today, folks. This is Old Texas Paul. Hope you enjoyed the show. I hope it was useful. Hope it was interesting. Take a breath. We've got another progressive pope. It's going to be a good day. Things are moving in the right direction. Our Canadian friends, our Australian friends, our European friends, everybody's moving back the other direction. We're moving that political picture ever so often. It has reached as far right as it's going to get, and it is coming back. Everybody realizes that we're in a class war. We are. Everything on the right is about the broligarchs and the ultra wealthy that have been, trying to get us to infight about stupid shit. It's swinging back the other direction, folks. So get involved with your local Democratic Party and let's make it happen. Enjoy some Texas cities at night.